Well, hey everyone, it is Wednesday and I have some makes to share with you. Don't worry, this isn't a cut. I had to put a band-aid over my finger where the yarn was going over my finger. It was starting to feel like it was rubbing it raw, so that was just to help it glide a little. So I made some things. Yes, I did. I started off on Saturday making some more of the Oak and Marlow Fable collection. And this time I decided I'm going to give them their little accessories. And because I'm on this mission to use up yarn, like finish off partial skeins and just clear out the stuff that I don't normally use all the time, that I was going to choose those type of yarns to try to clear it out and make space for the stuff I do use. So with the Fable collection, I started off with the dog, and I was using Dappled, Bernat Dappled, and it kind of did the color change at not so good of a spot. Like, his head and his arms are totally different colors from the rest of his body. But, you know, that happens sometimes. But I was able to, except for the tiniest little ball of yarn, use up what I had left of this partial skein. So on the dog, instead of doing the robe and the little eye mask, because it was like the bedtime collection or something like that, I just did the little vest. I thought it looked cute and it was quick and easy. And these come out just a little bit bigger in the Bernat than they do in Brights. So I did the dog first. Then I decided to do the bunny, the long floppy deer bunny. And this one has the little like dress and little bloomers. And yes, I still gave it the little cottontail. So I'm doing embroidered eyes on these instead of the safety eyes so that they're the baby safe kind, because they just love the little long legs and stuff. So I do not stuff the legs. I don't stuff the arms. I just stuff the body and the head. And I tried doing something a little different with the head. I don't know if you can tell. I did on round 3, I did 2 increases in the front, and then round 4, 2 decreases on top of the increases so that it would kind of come out just a little. Didn't quite do what I was hoping for, but it's not just a round ball. And for whatever reason, I just can't get the face shaping. Maybe I stuffed the head too much. That might be it. I'm not sure. But this is another remaining skein of Bernat Dappled, a different color than that gray one. And then this is some type of yellow, mustard yellow or something like that from Bernat. And these are the softer Bernats. So the ones that were stiff and like rough on the hands, I boxed those up and they are tucked in a closet for now. But these are the softer ones. So I had to kind of choose which animals that I did for the colors that I have. So we have the floppy-eared bunny. So that is 2. And these, they're just so cute. They are cute. Oh. So I have to stack them nice and neat so that I can have easy access to price them. Then I moved on to the ballerina mouse. And this one you can see a little bit better on the face, that where I tried to do the increases and decreases. A little bit better. It's still not quite right. And I didn't want to take the time to make my mouse head and sew it on, which my mouse head honestly looks better, but anyways. Again, this is that same dappled as the bunny, and I'm not sure what color this is. It's kind of like a plum wine type color, but it's a really pretty color. I like it. It's a nice fall color too. So we have the mouse, and there's still a couple of more that I haven't done yet. So then we did the bunny. This one you can really see that it comes out. So this one worked out well. I'm not sure what I might have done differently. I'm pretty sure it was just the 2 increases and 2 decreases, but it came out. Maybe it's probably just the way I stuffed it. Probably just the way I stuffed. So this one is the one that came with, well, actually I bought these separate. This was a separate pattern from the ballerina mouse was separate, and then the dog, the floppy ear bunny, no, the dog came with the cat. The floppy-eared bunny, I think, came with the deer and the fox, and I don't know, I bought like 4 different packages, and now the chicken's out. I want to get the chicken, but I don't know. So I did the bunny, and I did add the little fluffy tail to it, just because, you know, it needed the tail. I just got a notification that my yarn has been delivered. Yay. So we have this little bunny. Adorable. And this is, I want to say, baby sand in Bernat. And some shade of blue, which is a very nice shade of blue. And these are still softer. And I was able to use a 7mm hook with these. So that made it a little easier to deal with working with the Bernat. Just saying. And then I had one more. We did the fox. Now the fox, this is what was left over of that dappled. I did for the dark parts of the arms, the legs, the ears. And it's either pumpkin spice or rust. I can't remember. The labels are missing. And I got into those like when Toby was still here, and Toby used to like to put the yarn bands around himself and run through the house with them. So they've disappeared. So this one, I just made the cowl that goes with it using that mustard color. And again, I tried with the face, with the 2 increases, 2 decreases, and it did give a little bit of shape. I'm getting scam text messages as I'm trying to record this. So it did give it a little shape. And that gives me 5 of these now. I would like to get one of each made, and I think that leaves me with, I have the cat, but I'll have to look and see what accessories the cat had. So I think that leaves me with a deer and the bear. The deer I've made before. The bear I have not. I started to do the bear, but then I just didn't feel like my colors were right for it. I guess I could use that sand color, and it could be a light colored bear. You know, like Winnie the Pooh's not dark. I don't know. Don't have the colors in Bernat for a bear. I'll have to investigate a little bit. So then I had bought a pattern, you guys. So, you know, sometimes when you buy the pattern from designers that English isn't their first language, sometimes the translation is quite questionable. And this one was one that took me a little bit of time to make because I was having to decipher the pattern. But once I got it, I got it. It was like, here's the directions, and then now you have 3 or 4 pages of it breaking down the previous directions. So I was getting a little bit confused. Now, off the top of my head, I do not remember the name of these designers, except for 2 of them. But they will be in the description below. Or pop up as photo ads or whatever it is that YouTube does these days. So it was for this little Wiener dog. This one I did in Parfait Chunky, and it is very small in Parfait Chunky. I think if I used like Brights or Bernat, it would come out a halfway decent size. And I did yarn under. So if I switched up yarns and did yarn over, it would come out bigger. But his little feet actually have shape. He has a neck, which is nice. Makes him look a little more realistic. Now, attaching the feet was like lacking instruction, like what direction do they face, so I just kind of had to guess. Luckily, I guessed right. But it's really cute. And then it came with this little carry bag. So he fits in, there's little leg holes, so he fits in the little bag. Let me just get him in. So the carry bag is kind of what made me want to get this pattern. Okay. So he has his little bag, you know, it's like a little purse that he can be carried around in. But I think the dog part of it is worth it without the bag. Now, I did 2 colors on this because I ran out of this color. I had finished up that skein and, well, close to finish it up. I knew I didn't have enough to even make one more round, so I fastened off and added this blue color, which just happened to be sitting there. So that's kind of what made it cute, was the carry bag. But totally, the dog on its own definitely is very cute. I mean, it's adorable. It was definitely, reading the pattern was a little challenging, but not so bad that you can't figure it out. If I can do it, you can do it. So then I'm like, oh, I need more than just smalls. I need some bigger items. What do I want to make? And I really was in the mood to make dogs. So I pulled out the pattern pack that is from, I think it's Tim Magic Ring. And it's the one that has the splitting corgi. But there were 3 other dogs that came with it. And I had only made one other of the corgi and one other out of the 4. So I wanted to try one of the other ones. So that's what I did, using Parfait Chunky. Now, they call for really small eyes, but I already knew that my dog was going to come out very large. So I went, of course, I upped the eye size, and these are 25 millimeter, I think. Speaking of the eyes, oh my gosh, I got that new eye tool. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I got that new eye tool, and oh my God, it was so easy to put these eyes in. So because I used the bigger eyes instead of smaller eyes, he looks more cartoony, which is fine. So it's Parfait Chunky in Marshmallow and one of the new browns. But this took about a skein and a half of the marshmallow and just a tiny little bit of this. I started to do the splooting deer from Shannon's Snuggle Beans Crochet, and I was using this color, and I almost finished the head, and I'm like, it's coming out so tiny, and this color was so stiff. Like, these ears are not floppy at all. So that was not, this was very stiff. That would not have been a good deer. It would have not felt good. So one cute puppy. Just one. So I did that, and I was like, okay, that took a lot of time. Let's start on some Dachshunds. So I started to do them on Monday, and like I said, I'm trying to use up skeins. So this was a partial skein of Java from Home Slim, I believe. And what the heck is that color called? I can't think of it. It's the, oh, I know what it is. It's chocolate from Parfait Plush on the tip of the nose there, which in this light, you can actually see it in the light back here. Without the ring light there, you can't really see it. But in the Java, he turned out very small. Very, very small. So then in Monday's live with Heather, I was making the bodies for some more of those. And I got 2 bodies completed. And then I just needed to make the heads and sew them on. So we finished this one. And this one is in the chocolate from Plush. Let's see. Can you see the difference in the size? Like, this one is a lot smaller. So this particular skein of Plush was a nice plump one. And then I am almost completely out of that terracotta, but a little tiny bit of terracotta to put on his nose and his eyebrows. I should have done the baubles in the color changes for the baubles in it, but I was being lazy. So I told you I made 2 bodies in the live. Well, I was also concerned, am I going to have enough to finish? I was afraid I was going to run out, and that is exactly what happened. I ran out of chocolate. So this next one has different color ears than the rest of the body, which I do think he looks cute like that. And I struggled on all 3 of these to even get remotely close to having the eyes even. I don't know why. But when you compare this one to the other little Wiener dog, the other one is more realistic looking. This is way easier and more market friendly. Although I have to like go against the pattern and do it different to get my stuff to line up. But this one definitely is easier. But the other one is more realistic. It all depends on what you are looking for in your dogs. Like I said, I was in a mood to make dogs. So we did 3 of those. So that's 10 so far. I didn't come close to the 30 that I did in 4 days last week because some of these were bigger, took a little more time. So now I have 2 more things that are new to me, and then we'll talk about that eye tool. Oh, the thing's such a dream. So 2 more things that were new to me. I was trying to figure out what I was going to make yesterday. And I was looking at doing the bear from the Fable collection, and that's when I decided I don't have the right color to do it. So I completely changed my plan of action. And I was like, okay, let me do a Bluey. And then I thought, well, you know what? Tracy sent me her pattern. Let me try Tracy's pattern. And Tracy is from Travel Crochet AU here on YouTube. So I did her pattern. But a while back, and I'm pretty sure it was on Instagram. You know how you'll be scrolling through Instagram and you'll come across like a tip that somebody's giving on how to do something with your crochet? There was a tip. I mean, and it was probably months ago. I do not remember who it is that did it to give them credit. But just know this was not my idea. This was definitely someone else's idea. So the tip was if you're making a plushie or working in the round and it has that color changed for like say a belly patch, if you do the whole thing, not just the patch, but your whole pattern in front loop only, that it'll come out straight. So I wanted to test out that theory. And since Tracy's Traveler is filled with color changes because it like you're not having to use felt eyes or anything like that. Because it is filled with color changes, I thought it was the perfect pattern to test this out. So here is my Bluey using Tracy's pattern and doing it in front loop. And my belly patch did not drift off to either side. I was so shocked that it was working. Even the eyes, now I did clean up along the sides where you see the stitches bleed, together, like they do up here. I did clean up the sides of it because it just looked really, with it being the white against the dark blue, it looked like this, but way worse. So I cleaned that up with some top stitching. But it did not drift. I was shocked. Now, I messed up on the eyebrows. I don't know what I was thinking. It was supposed to be 4 stitches because she has you do them in the round. It was supposed to be 4 and I only did 3, so they looked funny up there. So I embroidered over the top of them and then took some of the darker blue and cleaned up around it. Just getting some fluff off of there. Sorry, guys. Cleaned up around it so that, I mean, they look a little lopsided, but, he's got the Vulcan eye going there. I had to clean it up because it really looked rough. But it is a fairly easy pattern, and it has cool feet. It has cool feet. I like the feet. And I was so impressed that this stayed straight. So after I made Bluey, I was like, all right, time to move on. Let's do something else. And I made something I don't like. I made a rat. So I got this pattern, and I think it's the same one that Christine at What's Up Cupcake uses. And this was my first one. So I had like 4 pinks that I could choose from to use. And I went with the mauve because it wasn't so stark and it kind of looked a little more natural to me. So the pattern calls for gray and pink. It is completely no-sew. The ears are done in the round. The feet are so cool. That is in the bobble stitch as you're doing the double crochets. The bottom half of the stitch is one color and the top half of the stitch is another. It's very cool. You do have to slow down when you're doing that part because, you know, you have to think about what you're doing. But it turns out really cool. So there's the little color changes in the feet. And that's a rat. So I decided, let me make another rat. So I did another one. And my tension was a little bit tighter in the second one. So he's a little smaller. Same skein of yarn. I finished that off, but he is a tad bit smaller. Let's see. Not by a whole lot, but he is a little shorter. Then I decided, oh, let's make a white one. Well, the only problem with making a white rat is they need pink or red eyes. I don't have that. So I stopped at one just to see if, like, people mention that, if they comment on it. And then I decided, let's make a brownish color one. So I used mushroom, and all of these are in the Chenille Brights. And I think each one, because of the thickness of the yarn, is just slightly a different size from the other. Because the yarn thickness is so inconsistent with all the companies. But 4 rats. And after I did 4 rats, I said, time to change. And I went and I did another Bluey. I still did the front loop only. And as you can see, it did not drift. I did not crochet in the eyebrow part. I just stitched some on. And rather than using white, like the pattern said to do, I did it in the light blue. White just seemed odd to me. But you know what? That's probably how it is in the cartoon. I don't know. But I have to say, when you're making this and you're working your way up, by the time you get to the top of it, it looks like hell. You're like, oh my God, is this going to work right? It is one of those where you have to trust the process, because he doesn't look right until you put this muzzle on and have his nose on the muzzle and put the ears on. And then it's like, boom. It's like just instantly came together. But before then, trust the process because it looks really funky. So now I have 2 Blueys, and this one, again, is a tension thing. I don't know why one time, because these were the same skeins, and this one is definitely thinner and shorter than this one. But I was experimenting on the first one, so I could see where my tension might be a little off. And this would be like my normal tension. So it's probably, I would guesstimate maybe an inch shorter, 3/4 of an inch, something like that, and definitely thinner. All because of tension. Just because of tension. Now let me get that eye tool. It is so cool. I have 4 different eye tools. Now, this one here is one that Christine from What's Up Cupcake sent to me. And she sent me 3 pairs of eyes. Now, I don't know why her eyes are so much easier to install than the other eyes that I have purchased. But they were a breeze, and this little tool worked great. I have a wooden one like this too, but I think this plastic was actually harder than the wood, so it worked better. Then there are just some, like, I have 2 different backs here. And both of these are for 25 millimeter. So there's this kind that's kind of like a dome, but has that top. I cannot get these onto my 25 millimeter eyes. Then this kind, this is the replacement kind that I ordered off of AliExpress. And they're about the same. I mean, they line up almost perfect. But these I can get to go on the eye. The other one I cannot. So just keep those in mind. Then Stacy from Stacy Makes sent me this pair because I was struggling with getting my eyes in. Now these work great for like 16 millimeter and under. It has a couple of these little pieces that pop in and out here for the different size eyes. But I absolutely could not make these work on the larger eyes. I felt like when I was squeezing, I was going to break the plastic. But they work great for like 16 millimeter, 18 millimeter and under. You know, it's like, or if you're going into small spaces with the little, you know, the standard black safety eyes, these are nice for getting in those smaller spaces and being able to make sure that they're on right. Now, the new tool, which I've only had the pleasure of using one time so far, and that was on this guy with the 25 millimeter eyes. This thing, oh my gosh, it is so nice. It required very little strength to squeeze this. You squeeze the handle and it presses down. The back goes into here. Sits in there. It also has two like adjuster pieces that go in for the smaller size eyes. So the back goes in there. This part here is padded, like a little silicone pad. And this part touches the eye itself, and then you just squeeze. Very little pressure. Very little pressure. Now, if you do it too hard, it's really going to snap your eyes into place. But what a game changer that was. It was an absolute pleasure to use. So I have to say thank you to Heather for bragging about hers and sharing that with us all, because that was absolutely fabulous. And it was like, now I think it was on sale. It was like $15 on Amazon. And I think the regular price is $17.99. Even if it was $50, this would be worth it. Because, I mean, it just went on. Now, Heather uses hers upside down. I was asked if, when I got my tool, could I mention if it is table mountable. And I'm not sure where I put my little adapters at. So I can't test that for you. But there are screw holes where it can be table mounted if that is what you choose to do. You just need to check and make sure. I don't know where I placed them. I put them away so I wouldn't lose them. Now I don't know where I put them. I would check to make sure that your adapter, if it sticks out further than that or not, it might need to hang over the edge of your table a little bit just for that adapter. But then it's kind of going to be awkward. It's going to face the wrong direction. I personally think you should not mount it. You should keep it to where you can move it around and adjust it. The plastic feels like it's a pretty sturdy plastic. When I used it, I didn't feel like the handles were going to break or anything. I'm excited about this. This was like, at least on the one pair of eyes I got to use it on, it was like heaven. It was absolutely amazing. I just haven't made anything else that was bigger to use the bigger eyes on. But one of the sinker eyes that I've been really struggling with, even with the new backs, is the 20 millimeter. This is going to be great for the 20 millimeter. I can't seem to get it on that post. I'm not sure what it is. I really think it's they don't give enough room for between the eye and the back for the thickness of the yarn that we use. I don't know. But even Heather said she's been struggling with the 20 millimeters, and this makes a huge, huge difference. Huge. I can't express that enough. Just huge. Just a couple things. You need the eye tool, and when you're doing something, pick a small project. It doesn't have to be something big like this. And if it has the belly patch, say like a penguin or a shark or a lizard, something that's got the belly patch that is crocheted in the round, try doing it the entire thing. Now, the legs and the arms are normal. The ears are normal. But once I connected the body, I went and switched to doing front loop only for every round. And it did not shift. I am just thrilled. So give that a try. Pick something small and try it out. Front loop only. And on that note, I'm going to go make something. And we will see you in the next video.